Namaskar, friends. You might be surprised to be seeing this video because I am doing this in English. Normally, as my clients and my friends are aware, I've been doing a lot of programs on astrology, philosophy, spirituality in my mother language, Kannada. Of late, there have been requests from my national and international clients, the non-Kannada speaking people, that they would like to see me speaking I'm doing programs in English also. So I decided to do a very important program in English this time. The subject of today's discussion is the oncoming lunar eclipse, which takes place on May 26th, Wednesday. It's called the Chandra Grahan, and this is the first eclipse and also the first lunar eclipse of 2021. The specialty of this eclipse, my friends, is on this day we also have this very auspicious Buddha Purnami. A very important thing I would like to discuss here is many people write mails to me and they ask me, Guruji, why is it that all eclipses are very bad? Is there nothing good in eclipses? Well, this is the work of Mother Nature, and as far as my humble experience in the last 44 years goes, I've been studying, a lot of these natural phenomena taking place, astronomical phenomena, and I find that eclipses normally do not have very comfortable effects. But of course, when we talk in terms of Muhurta Shastra, very authentic granthas or books on Muhurta, ancient classical texts on Muhurta, tell us very clearly that if a surgery is to be performed, a very major surgery or important complicated surgery is to be performed, when we talk in terms of Muhurta, sometimes we do recommend performing surgery on certain eclipse days also. So eclipse is also part of Muhurta. And the other specialty of eclipses are anybody interested in making considerable spiritual progress to new dimensions. If they want to do japam or chanting of some mantras, then we recommend that they start on eclipse days, because according to ancient Hindu Shastras and very authentic texts on astrology and Muhurta, it is said that when somebody wants to benefit from chanting of mantras spiritually or materially, if they start on eclipse days or Amavasya days, that is new moon days or full moon days, then the effect of the mantras is triple, 3 times more. So dear viewers, in case you are interested in making some tangible progress in spirituality by doing japams or chanting of some mantras, please do start on this day. So this is May 26th, Wednesday, and it's a eclipse day. Now this is a penumbral eclipse, but in certain parts of the world, it is also a total eclipse. This eclipse goes by the name of superflower blood moon. And it sounds pretty funny because when you talk in terms of flower, you can ask me why is it called superflower blood moon. Well, Westerners, they give special names to certain astronomical phenomena and natural phenomena also. The reason why it's called a blood moon is, in certain places the earth, when the eclipse is almost full, in those places I'll be discussing, for about 14 minutes, the hue of the moon is supposed to turn red. So it's called a blood moon. And the second part is, it is a super moon because moon is in perigee, very close to the earth, and it's a very well known fact that when the moon is very close to the earth, the gravitational pulse of the moon on the earth, especially on the sea, is about 4 times more. So what happens is, normally on full moon days or new moon days or eclipse days, the sea is more disturbed. And when you ask me a question, why is it called the flower supermoon? My friends, I need to tell you, on this day and the period before and after that, somewhere in Australia and some places in USA, America, a lot of flowers, sprout up, colored flowers, bloom. So that's why it's called a super flower blood moon. Now, in certain parts of the world, such as South Korea and in US, Houston, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Honolulu, and in terms of other countries like Australia, some places in Australia like Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane, then Singapore, Taiwan, Jakarta, Hong Kong, Tokyo. In all these places, probably it will be a total lunar eclipse for some time. Certain other places of the earth, for example in Montreal and Toronto in Canada, then New York and USA, Chicago, Washington DC, then in Cuba, in Havana, and in Argentina, Buenos Aires. This is a Spanish word, and this is how it's pronounced in Spanish, Buenos Aires, and Thailand in Bangkok, Dhaka in Bangladesh. In all these areas, a partial lunar eclipse takes place. Now coming to our country, India, Mera Bharat, the eclipse is not visible because it's a penumbral eclipse, and the second part is it occurs somewhere in the evening hours around 16 hours, 4 p.m. onwards, and then because the sun is bright, naturally the eclipse is not visible. But my friends, I want to tell you, whether an eclipse is visible in a particular place or not, the effects of the eclipse will still be felt in many ways. For example, on a new moon day, the moon is not visible on a Amavasya day. But still, it is a known fact that many people tend to get very disturbed on new moon days, sometimes on full moon days either. Now, what I normally do is, when an eclipse takes place, I erect a chart for that. I erect a chart with the planetary positions, just as we erect a horoscope for a newborn child. Now, in this chart, the planetary influences are like this. The ascendant rising is Tula or Libra. In the second house, which is Scorpio, we have debilitated moon in Ketu. And in the fourth house, that's in Capricorn, we have Shani or Saturn, retrograde. In the fifth house, in the sign of Aquarius, we have Jupiter or Brihaspati. In the eighth house, that is in the sign of Taurus, we have Ravi, that's the Sun, Rahu, and then Venus, Shukra or Venus. And finally, in the sign of Gemini, in the ninth house from this ascendant, from Libra, we have Mars and Mercury. Now, this planetary setup can have some kind of an impact on mundane aspects on the world as a whole, and of course on certain people born in certain different signs. We are talking in terms of lunar signs, Janma Rashis. As far as the influence of this eclipse on the earth is concerned, I am talking in terms of nature. My experience tells me the effects can last for about 3 months. And while on individual charts, on certain Rashis, the effect of this eclipse will be felt for about 15 days, that is until the next solar eclipse, which occurs on the 10th of June. Now, A very important thing I need to tell you is, normally lunar eclipses, they have an effect on either the seas or the earth as a whole or nature. Solar eclipses, they have an effect or influence on certain pandemics or epidemics, and also on international relationships. Sometimes solar eclipses also trigger off wars, important wars. Now, as far as this lunar eclipse is concerned, I told you, we cast a horoscope for the time of the eclipse, and I've explained to you the planetary setup. Now, in general, if I need to tell you what kind of influence these planetary influences have on things around us, my experience in the last 44 years, after some research, I've come to this conclusion. So, dear viewers, I'll come to the technical part of it. The moon in Ketu in the sign of Scorpio indicates that there can be some kind of disturbances as far as the atmosphere is concerned, what you call, natural disasters like tsunamis or something like that, storms, very severe storms, heavy rains and all that. And then because retrograde Saturn is aspecting the ascendant, the influence of this on the world indicates that the human race as a whole around the world will have more sufferings than what it has now. The other part is the sign lord of Libra, the ascendant lord Libra, is Venus. Venus occupies the 8th house from the sign of Libra, along with the Sun and Rahu. So this influences the center as far as the political fortunes of India are concerned. Probably, it is not good for the welfare of some important people in the center. Now, when you talk in terms of the placement of Mercury and Mars in the sign of Gemini, time and again in all my first Kannada videos I've been maintaining, anybody having Mars and Mercury in one sign, normally they tend to be a little egoistic and arrogant. Mercury is called the Buddhi Karaka, and when the Buddhi Karaka is influenced by Mars, that person's Buddhi becomes a little shaky in a different way. Arrogance shows up. And as far as certain other events are concerned, my research, and of course, what the rishis have told us in their very beautiful granthas, they very clearly say that when Mars and Mercury come together in space, satellites are affected, radio reception is affected, and my prediction is for the next 3 months, a new nerve-related disease or disorder might sprout up because of some other kind of a bacteria or infection. And this, of course, the next 3 months are not good for the fisherman community. They need to be more careful. And the seas will be much more disturbed. Whether it's going to be a tsunami or a storm, we don't know, but it's going to be quite a disturbance. The government needs to take a lot of care as far as this thing is concerned. And then, when we come to the influence of these combinations, this Chandra Grahan on individual Rashis, not all Rashis are going to be affected, my friends. There are few Rashis which might be influenced more by this particular Chandra Grahan. And my homework tells me the Rashis or even those born in these Lagnas can be Vrishabha Rashi or Vrishabha Lagna, Taurus Janma Rashi. I am talking in terms of the moon sign, not the sun sign. Janma Rashi, so Taurus ascendant or Taurus Janma Rashi. Then Mithuna, that is Gemini Rashi or Gemini ascendant. Then Tula, Libra Rashi or Libra ascendant. Then Vrishchika, Scorpio Rashi or Scorpio ascendant. Ascendant means Lagna. Then Dhanus, that is Sagittarius, Rashi or Lagna. And finally, Makara or Capricorn, Rashi or Lagna. These are the Rashis that might be more influenced by this Grahana. by this lunar eclipse. Now I will start with the Rashis, dear friends. We will start with Vrishabha or Taurus. As far as my homework is concerned, or my calculation is concerned, as I told you earlier, this will be valid for the next 15 days until the 10th of June, till the next solar eclipse. In this period, Vrishabha Rashi or Vrishabha Lagna people, they can develop a bit of eye-related issues. The sun rules over the eyes. Chakshura Surya Jayata. The sun with Rahu in the sign of Taurus can, give them some small eye imbalances. Mostly it could be an infection or maybe some small imbalance as far as the eye is concerned. So eye care is required. And those particularly born in the Nakshatra Rohini, for them, the pressures will be more, work pressures will be more, and probably, they might also find a small swelling in the neck. Probably it could be thyroid. So a little extra care there is required. And then this eclipse, as far as the Taurus people are concerned, it's not generally good for the welfare of their father in particular. Then one more very important thing is, these people might also have some kind of problem as far as their vehicles are concerned. Venus is called the Vahana Karaka. So, either it might give a problem, a big mechanical problem, or they may lose a vehicle, or they may have a small accident. So, these are the indications for Vrishabha Lagna or Vrishabha Rashi people. And I also suggest, some simple remedies. Normally, I give importance to chanting of mantras because Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita very clearly tells us, Yagnanam Japa Yagnosmi. So in Kali Yuga, mantras work the best if you do that properly. Now, until June 10th, Vrishabha Rashi people, I will suggest to them to chant the 8th shloka of the Bhavani Ashtaka, which is very important, morning and evening, facing north, and each time 40 times. See, normally when we chant mantras, you are supposed to stand or sit on a wooden plank. Don't stand on the plain floor. Suppose somebody is not able to sit cross-legged on the floor on a wooden plank, they can use a sofa or a chair, but their feet on a wooden plank, because wood is a non-conductor of electricity. So this Bhavani Shloka, 8th Shloka of the Bhavani Ashtakam runs like this. Anato daridro jararoga yukto mahakshina sada jadyavaktraha vipattau pravishta pranashta sadaham gatistam tvameka bhavani. The second sign affected is Mithuna or Gemini. Mithuna Lagna, Mithuna Rashi, Gemini Lagna or Gemini Rashi. Now, we have Mars and Mercury in this Rashi, so that can result in a bit of migraine headaches or sinus headaches. And also, normally Mars in any Rashi, that tends to trigger off a bit of misunderstanding with close people around you. So be careful not to pick up arguments with others, especially for the next 15 days, and try to maintain a low profile. Even on the home front, the atmosphere may be a little hot. So, don't have heated arguments, please. Then, normally for Mithuna Lagna and Mithuna Rashi, Mars is supposed to be an Ashubha Graha. It's not a very favorable planet. It's a malefic planet because he owns the 6th house. So, what happens is, for the moment until June 10th, for Mithuna Rashi, Mithuna Lagna people, they might have very small freak accidents, like tripping and falling down. And then, anything freak, Mars specifically rules over lifts, elevators, escalators, high-rise buildings and new construction places. So these Mithuna Rashi, Mithuna Lagna people, for the next 15 days, they must be extra careful in these areas. Now, there's Moon and Ketu in the 6th house from Gemini. So that is probably indicative of possibility of a bit of urinary tract infection. So a little extra care to their health must be given. And they might, for the next 15 days feel very uncomfortable in the night, because probably uh, at least a lot of people born in this sign may have to go to the loo 3 or 4 times in the night. You need to take the advice of your doctor. In the eighth house, from Gemini, there is Vakra Shani, that is retrograde Saturn, aspected by the eighth house aspect of Mars. So this can definitely increase stress factors. So those having blood pressure, they can find a little of extra fluctuation in blood pressure. Try to remain calm. There is also Jupiter aspecting the sign of Gemini. Normally, according to ancient classical texts, when Jupiter's aspect, fifth house is aspect there on the Rashi or the Lagna, it tends to indicate that such persons can, be more recipient to the grace of Lord Shiva in particular. So please pray to Lord Shiva. Then 3 planets are in the 12th house, Sun, Rahu and Venus, which is not good for conjugal happiness. It's called the Shayanasthana. It's also indicative of lack of sleep, proper sleep for the next 15 days. So a little of extra care has to be taken here also. And as far as the remedies are concerned, in the evenings, if it's comfortable for you and if you're used to it, please start chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam sometime between 5 and 7 in the evening, which is called Godoli Muhurtam, facing east. If you're not able to chant the Vishnu Sahasranamam, then you need to do a small japam of what is called Narsimha Mantram, and this you can chant 33 times in the evenings, this also facing north. Now this Narsimha Mantram runs as follows: Om Namo Narsimhaya, Sarva Rishta Vinashaya, Sarva Jana Mohanaya, Sarva Rajya Vashyam Kuru Kuru Swaha. Next we come to the sign of Libra. When you talk in terms of Libra, Tula Rashi, Tula Lagna, Libra Rashi, Libra Lagna, in the second house there is the moon and there is also Ketu. This might probably push you towards a dentist. The second house rules over the mouth, so probably you might have to go to the dentist for some dental issues. So please give a little extra attention to your dental health. And then since there is retrograde Saturn in the fourth house is called the Matrasthana, this period may also not be the best for Tula Rashi people, Tula Lagna people's mother. Their mothers, might have some issues. So the mothers of these people born in Tula and Tula Lagna, Tula Rashi, they might also have a bit of orthopedic related issues because of the adverse 8th house aspect of Mars. And for Tula Rashi people, Jupiter is supposed to be an Ashubha Graha. It's a temporary malefic planet. Now we have Jupiter in the 5th from Tula. So the influences of this Jupiter may not be too comfortable as far as the health of the children of Tula Rashi people are concerned for the next 15 days. The owner of Tula, that is Venus, is in the 8th house with Ravi and with the Sun and Rahu. So this might include a lot of physical stress for Tula Rashi people, a lot of body pains, maybe because of mental stress or physical stress, and also some kind of a strange fear, unwarranted fear might also be there. Since Mars occupies the 9th house from Tula, 9th is called the Pitrasthana or house of father, in these 15 days, Tula Rashi people, Tula Lagna people might have some differences of opinion with their fathers in particular. So please try to avoid that. When you talk in terms of remedies for these people, first of all, please ensure that you do not get scared or worried unnecessarily. Don't be apprehensive. There's a simple mantra which runs as Om Shri Maha Durgaya Namaha. So Tula Rashi people are advised to chant Om Shri Maha Durgaya Namaha every day in the morning after bath facing north for 300 times. And if you have an opportunity for poor women, for the next 15 days, try to supply them with a bit of rice. That will also act as a detonant for karma. Next is Vrishchika or Scorpio. Now in this sign of Scorpio, we have the debilitated moon and Ketu. The conjunction of moon and Ketu here indicates that for Vrishchika Rashi people, for the next 15 days, they might frequently have some lung related issues. Moon basically rules over the lungs and Ketu rules over the infection part. Not necessarily COVID, it could be a lung infection, so be a little extra careful. The aspect of Saturn, the placement of Saturn in the third house from Scorpio indicates, third is called the Bhratrasthana, house of siblings. There could be differences of opinion with your siblings. So please try to avoid heated arguments with your siblings at home. Any important discussions or decisions, please move it for the next 15 days. In the fourth house, we have Jupiter. That indicates a bit of extra happiness from the mothers of these people. So think you are fortunate on that. There is also the possibility of change of residence. That also depends a lot on your horoscope. In the seventh house, from Scorpio, there are three planets, Venus, Rahu and Sun. This indicates that any efforts for search for grooms or brides in marriage might not work out well for you, and there is also the possibility of some kind of deception in anything relating to marriage. So any such efforts, I would suggest you to postpone for the next 15 days. Also, the influence of Rahu in the 8th house from Scorpio indicates that these Rashi or Lagna people might develop a bit of discomfort in the shoulder region and probably a bit of frozen shoulder. So please take the advice of your doctor and don't get stressed up, because most of our health issues come from stress factors only. And the Pariharam or the remedy for this is the presiding deity for Mars, who owns the sign of Scorpio, is Lord Kartikeya or Subramanya. So here I am going to give you one very beautiful Subramanya shloka. I would like you to repeat this 39 times every day in the morning for the next 15 days, facing north. This shloka runs as Gnana Shaktidhara Skanda Valli Kalyana Sundara Devasena Manakkanta Kartikeya Namostate Om Subramanyaya Namaha. I'm sure you'll agree with me that this is a very simple mantra. Please do that. And on any one Tuesday for the next 15 days, if it is possible and feasible, please donate some amount of tur dal to some anath ashram, destitutes, and that will also give you a lot of protection. Then we come to the sign of Dhanus or Sagittarius. The owner of Sagittarius is Jupiter, Bruhaspati. He is in the third house, which means third house is called the house of movement. So even the Anurashi people might have to keep on moving here and there, running from pillar to post, and that might also give them a lot of fatigue. In the second house, we have retrograde Saturn. Second is called the Dhanasthana, house of income, which means in the next 15 days, you can develop a big hole in the pocket. So be careful as far as your money matters are concerned. In the sixth house from Sagittarius, there are three planets, the Sun, Venus and Rahu. That indicates, sixth is also called the Shatrasthana, house of enemies. So for the next 15 days, those born in Dhanus, Sagittarius, they might have a bit of extra trouble from their enemies. So, don't, create enemies yourself and try to be more diplomatic. You should be away from evil people. In the seventh house from Dhanus, we have Mercury and Mars. Seventh house is called the Kalatrasthana, house of marital happiness or wife or husband. So Mars and Mercury in seventh can create some issues or differences of opinion between couples. So you need to be more cool about it. The other part is for the next 15 days, those born in Dhanas, they might develop a bit of extra back pain or they might hurt their back by wrong movements. So don't experiment trying to lift heavy weights or pull something with a jerk and all that. You should definitely be extra careful as far as your back is concerned. Otherwise, you can hurt your back and develop a lot of discomfort. In the 12th house uh, from Sagittarius, we have the moon, debilitated moon and Ketu. If you are not careful, you might have some issues relating to, properties that have been given to you by your parents, legacies that you might have received from your parents or somebody else. So be careful, otherwise you might even lose it. The parihara or remedies for Dhanurashi people is every day in the evening. For those who are used to it, you can chant Shiva Sahasranama. But Shiva Sahasranama, the words are a bit difficult, so everybody can't do that. In case you find it difficult to do the Shiva Sahasranama, please chant Shiva Ashtotra Shatanamavali, which runs as Om Shivaya Namaha, Om Maheshwaraya Namaha, Om Shambhavaya Namaha, 108 names of Lord Shiva with Om and Namaha, which is much more easier. In case you can't do even that, then please start chanting for the next 15 days after bath in the morning and in the evening preferably. The simple mantra Om Namah Shivaya either 540 times or 1008 times. Now finally, we come to the sign of Capricorn or Makara. For Makara Rashi people, probably as you are aware, they are under the influence of the middle part of Sade Sati, which is also not the best. Now, for this Makara Rashi people, Putra Karka Jupiter is in a sign of Saturn, which indicates that these Makara Rashi people might have sudden unwarranted expenditure pertaining to their children. Maybe it could be related to education or maybe something else, but that could be quite heavy on your pockets. In the 5th house, we have the Sun, Venus and Rahu, 5th house from Makara. 5th is also called the Putrasthana. So what happens is, for the next 15 days, children of Makara Rashi people are more prone to some kind of infections. So please take extra care as far as your children are concerned. Now the placement of Sun is called the Pitrukarka with Rahu in the 5th house indicates Makara Rashi or Makara Lagna people might have some differences of opinion with their fathers in particular, which is definitely not advisable. So please try to respect your father and maintain a low profile. Otherwise, decency levels may be crossed. In the 6th house from Capricorn, we have Mercury and Mars. 6th is also called the Rogasthana, house of ill health. This indicates that for the next 15 days, Makara Rashi people might have a bit of migraine headaches or maybe sinus headaches, either because of stress or maybe some indiscipline in food or sleep. So please take care of your health. And the 7th Lord Moon with Ketu in the Kita Rashi, it's called an insect sign of Scorpio, for Makara Rashi people for the next 15 days indicates loss of some valuables of your partner, of your wife or your husband. So little extra care there is also required. Now the remedy for Makara Rashi people is 5th house is called the Purva Punyasthana. Since we have the sun there, Surya Radhana is very important, worshipping the sun. If you can chant Aditya Hridayam every day in the morning facing north before 9 a.m., that's a wonderful remedy that can protect you. And in case you don't know how to chant or you can't chant Aditya Hridayam, I am going to give you a small Surya Shloka which is quite easy. I would like you to chant this Shloka 29 times facing east every day in the morning, and that also before 9. This mantra runs as Adi Deva Namastubhyam Prasida Mama Bhaskara Divakara Namastubhyam Prabhakara Namostute. Dear friends, I have done my best in trying to give you the best of advice as far as the oncoming lunar eclipse is concerned. And probably, as you're aware, I do a lot of homework on this. And as you're aware, I'm also in the field for the last 4 to 4 years. So please take care. Please follow the simple remedies, and you will definitely be able to overcome certain of these issues that I've suggested there. And this is also a Buddha Purnima day. So let me finish this episode by wishing all of you a very happy Buddha Purnima. Namaskar.